Hey guys, it's Liko and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my, what month is it? My May wrap up. If you hear a bunch of noise upstairs, my husband is up there like packing up stuff, rearranging stuff. We're going into a new house soon. So, and I told him I don't feel up to packing today. But I'll pack up the books that I've read, and I'll pack up, well, actually all of my books, because most of my books are already packed up except for one bookshelf, and that bookshelf was going to be what was on my TBR and what books that I may want to read or any new books I got. But now that we're down to crunch time, I'm just gonna put everything in boxes now. Everything in boxes except for just the ones that I'm going to put on my June TBR, because that way I've been in like a reading slump lately. Like, for example, in May I read 7 books. That is really good for me, especially coming out of a reading slump, just like emerging out of like the house with the sun shining bright on you, and you're just like, oh, there's reading to be done. You mean like I was kind of in like my dark little hole reading just a few books a month for a few months, and I think winter has something to do with that for me. I seem to do that every winter, but not this winter. This year it's going down. So there's just like a set books there that I can read, and they can just come in my car with me when we move like 5 minutes down the road or something. So just please ignore my husband moving stuff upstairs, and please ignore my dirty kitchen table. My animals like to sleep on it when no one's eating, and we're like moving now, so things are gonna be dirty. But let's just get into what I've read in the month of May. Okay, so I know I've talked about this book before, but this is The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. I hated this book so bad. I gave it a 1 star on Goodreads, but if I could give it 0, I would have. But I'll go ahead and I'll link that shit review down for you in the description box if you're interested in it. Like, I was so disappointed because the cover is gorgeous, and the concept of a necromancer was just like, yes, you know, like, yes, finally a book about like some dark necromancer witch. It was horrible. It was so bad. I don't even know why I still have this book. Maybe it's just because it's pretty, or just want to talk about how bad I hate it. I don't know. I'm probably, if I end up keeping this, I'm going to be really sad, but it's probably going to go to my library. But yeah, I'll link that video for you. Booth by Jason Pellegrini. He is an indie author. He asked me to review this book for him, and my friend Lisa over at Coffee Beans and Bookmarks won one of his books in a giveaway. So I wanted to read it with her. So we buddy read this, and I also have a review for this. I'll link it down in the description box below. It's kind of like a hard book to read in the beginning. It is pretty good. It's basically about a guy who tries to redeem himself and his soul. Like, he tries to redeem his soul because he's on death row right now for killing someone. And he's given the chance to redeem himself and start another life if he can change the events of the Lincoln assassination. So it was pretty interesting. So I turned the overhead light off because it was bothering me, and there's still natural lighting, so y'all can still see me. But yeah, the next book that I read, or actually, I don't think this was the next book, but I read this in May. This month. Yeah. It's The Daughter of the Pirate King, and this is a debut novel by Trisha Levenseller, and our buddy read this with my friend Melissa at Melissa and Barnesy Read. This was cute. I mean, it says on the front, we have a Lady Jack Sparrow on our hands, and it's true. I mean, she was pretty badass and sarcastic. She was just like a little bitch, and I loved her for it. She had this like no nonsense attitude. So it's just a really cool and fun pirate story. I don't really want to spoil the book, but there is a twist. She's special. She is special than any other pirate out there because she has some sort of ability, but if you read the book, you'll understand that. Yeah, her name is Alosa, and she kind of looks like Merida to me on the cover, but it's pretty cool. And she has to fight pirates and like try to find this treasure for her father, who is the Pirate King, and it's really interesting. I recommend this book. Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm new to Sarah J. Maas's world. I really like it. Now, this book was a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I really enjoyed this book. I didn't like Feyre's character so much in this book because she just did everything that she was told not to do. So she just kind of reminded me of like my children when they're being defiant, and it's annoying. It's just like, yo, you're told not to do something, why are you gonna fucking do it? Like, why are you getting yourself into these sticky situations? But I really did like this book, and I thought it was a pretty nice retelling considering how it's like fairies and stuff. And I'm assuming Tamlin was the beast in this, so I thought it was a really nice book, a pretty good introduction into this world. And I'll probably end up doing like a full book review for this and posting it on my channel maybe sometime this month. I am interested in talking further about this book and the other books that came out, well, the other books in this trilogy. So if you guys would like to see me do book talks for this book and the other 2 books in the trilogy, then just leave me a comment down below. I also read A Court of Mist and Fury. Now, I tabbed the crap out of this book. I really liked this book. It's a really big chunk or two, like Harry Potter books. But this book, I guess, was like a retelling of Hades and Persephone. And I totally ship Rhysand and Feyre. I totally do. Like, towards the end of A Court of Thorns and Roses, I was like, oh, this is a nice Beauty and the Beast retelling. She's with Tamlin. This is great. And then Rhysand comes in the picture, and I'm like, I like him. I really kind of like him. And then I really like him more in this one. He's amazing. I don't like Tamlin's character as much. He seems to have turned into a 180, just like this controlling, I think I'm protecting you and everybody, but really I'm just a big controlling jerk. Like, I don't know. I really like this one. And then we find out that she's got like powers now. That's cool. But again, I really don't want to spoil this book, and it's kind of hard not to unless I do like a book talk. So again, if you want me to talk about this whole trilogy, even the ACOWAR book, then just leave me a comment down below and let me know, and I'll do a video for each of those books, like spoiler free and then spoilery, so we can talk about it and just gush over everything. Like, I really love this book. This book made me cry. This book was my everything. This book is one of my favorites this year, and like, it's third friend here. This is my favorite book so far this year. This book is everything to me. I cried, I laughed, I felt so many feelings in this book. Now, I mean, there were some things in here that I didn't so much like, but overall the book was like the best book ever. I gave it a 5 stars. And I would be more than happy to talk about this book too in a book talk, its own separate video. But yeah, I read this one too in May. And I also read A Feast for Crows by George R.R. Martin. This is the 4th book in the Song of Ice and Fire series. So it's kind of like Game of Thrones number 4. I only have 1 book left to read in this series, and it feels great because they're so long. There are easily like between 900 some pages to like 1300 pages long each. And this one was definitely, this was the smaller of the ones. Like I think the actual story itself before it got to the appendix was 978 pages, so this was the smaller one. This one I gave a 4 stars. Normally I don't really rate books 5 stars unless they mean a lot to me, but like the last one, Akawar, was a 5 star for sure. This one was a 4 star. And the reason why is I love this book. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with this book, but there are some storylines in here that weren't explained. And because we were left with like a cliffhanger on the 3rd one, and then they were just kind of like not here at all in the 4th one. But the reason for that was because he wrote so much. Like he couldn't fit everything into one big book that was like 3,000 pages long. So instead of cutting it in half and saying to be continued, I'm just going to stop these storylines over here in this book, kind of tie up those ends, and then I'm going to tie up the rest of the storylines in the 5th book. So I'm waiting to know more about those storylines soon, but I am taking a break since these are so long. I am going to wait probably towards the end of the month of June to read the last one. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I read this one. So overall I read 7 books, but I guess this book could be counted as like 3 YA books because this is like 1,000 pages long almost. So I think overall I had a pretty good reading month, even though it was pretty slumpy. I think the ACOTAR series or trilogy brought me out of the slump, and I just pushed forward and everything was awesome. I am a little bit sad though that Feyre's storyline isn't continuing anymore. Like there is going to be a book next year for ACOTAR, but it's going to be like other people's storylines. I'm really hoping they do something more with Morgan and maybe Azriel or Nesta. I'm starting to really like Nesta. I'm not going to be doing my TBR actually within the same video as my wrap up because it's just going to be way too long. So I'll have a separate video for my TBR, and you guys will see that. What day is it? This is pre-filmed, so you guys will probably see it on a Friday. So yeah, if you like my wrap up, then please give me a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss any more videos from me, then please hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.